Welcome to the Last Down Podcast, episode 15. We have another good one. I'm your boy Anguiano.
Boy Lopez.
We'll start off with the most interesting story that we've had, which is the JT situation. Obviously, it's been very heated between him and Irsay. What do you think about this whole situation?
Got to start off with that there was a lot of news over the last couple weeks, or the last week from the last episode, and JT is one of them because the JT dilemma is crazy. Basically requesting a trade because Irsay was saying that, even if I died and if he got traded, like the NFL would forget about it, and I think at that point, like, you as an owner, you have a responsibility to like your players, have your players like you, and build a good, chemistry. And what worse way than to ruin it by just saying stuff like that?
Bro, like, if I were JT, I'd for sure not play another slap.
Yeah.
Like you said, Irsay was saying some crazy stuff.
Yep.
If the owner told the whole freaking press that if he died and JT died, no one would care in his business, like, that's messed up.
Right.
Like, period. Like, why do you even say that? Like, what makes you think, like, that's justifiable to why you shouldn't pay him?
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, bro, like he's bluffing, like, because there's a lot of kids right now living in, I'm pretty sure, in Indiana that look up to JT. They're, like, excited to see JT, and if he died, people would give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care what, like, that's insensitive.
It is. It really is. And Irsay just saying stuff like that, it's going to not just ruin what he had with JT, but it's going to ruin what he has with the whole team as a whole. And so, now that we look at the situation, I feel like JT, is going to sit out, but not on his own will. More like the Colts want to add him to the PUP list. Or which one list?
What's crazier is because they've already contemplated putting him in the NFI list to not pay him.
Yeah.
To and then pretty much say, like, that's like a year where I guess he just doesn't play, and then the next year he's eligible to just play again. That last year of his contract. In other words, they've suspended his year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's bad all around. I just see it as another L, another big fallback for the running backs, because that's a way that owners can pin it on running backs, pin it on any player, and use it against them and find ways to withhold their salaries. So and then I saw in the comments they were saying, where did this come from? Irsay. It could be easily Irsay that said that did this, because Jonathan Taylor said, what back injury, what back pain, I never reported any of this. I don't know who the sources are. So it's sad. The whole set of events is sad.
This actually sounds personal to me, bro, if I'm being honest, because, like I said, he made some very derogative comments, and JT, is calling it BS.
Yeah.
JT is not going to play another snap for the Colts.
Right.
I just don't think it's going to happen. And if it happens, I personally would just be surprised. I would be a little disappointed because it's like, he's not really getting paid. Yeah. And it's just ugly right there. So it's so ugly. I've actually never seen a situation like that.
Yeah, no, me neither. I've in all my years of watching the NFL, I've seen players sit out. I've seen players, talk smack about certain players, certain coaches. But the dilemma that this is going around, it's pretty bad. It's pretty obvious that Taylor doesn't want to play another down for the Colts. It's pretty obvious. Not that he hates the city, not that he hates the people there. Probably he doesn't hate the coaches, the players, but Irsay.
It's Irsay, man.
He made it ultimately toxic. He can't play there no more.
Irsay, not only that, Irsay, made it very, very, very adamant, like, the situation was bad. Because before all this really came out, people were already saying, like, why did Irsay really come in a team bus just to make JT go to the bus and they can have one-on-one right there at training camp? Yeah. It was like they were bound to making it a big deal,
Exactly. Yeah.
But overall, man, JT better get traded. Who he gets traded to, I would personally say maybe at least an average team, at least, that would appreciate his services, unlike the Indianapolis Colts owner, Jim Irsay.
Yeah, it's going to be a high asking price, though, if I'm being honest. Jim Irsay is not going to get rid of Jonathan Taylor like that.
Exactly.
He's not, and that's why it's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose.
But it's funny because it wasn't just Taylor. Eckler was out here talking about they don't want to pay me, but they want to get a lot. And I'm pretty sure that's what Irsay would want too. He'd probably want a first rounder. Like, Ramsey, he's an elite corner. He can't even get traded for a first round. We traded him for a first rounder, but even recently when we traded him to Dolphins, it was a third rounder.
Yep.
So I just really think at this point it's a very ugly situation. We'll see what happens right there because, man, it's really ugly.
Yeah, it's a bad look overall for NFL owners. Bad look for the NFL, the way the Irsay is handling it. But it's all business at the end of the day. Jonathan Taylor wants his payday, and Jim Irsay wants to be a cheapskate and not pay his players. So it's all a business at the end of the day, sadly. So, I mean, hopefully it gets resolved and Taylor gets what he deserves. But from the looks of it, it's going to be a really long battle.
And it's going to suck for Anthony Richardson, too, because I'm pretty sure with no freaking Jonathan Taylor, for sure Richardson will struggle because those web injuries, they're not good.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Irsay needs to step down, if I'm being honest.
It's never going to happen, to be honest. He's the owner.
Yeah, I know.
He has to sell the team.
There's no other That's what I mean. He has to sell the team. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll be the next Schneider, and he'll be pretty much. There'll be a lot of pressure.
Oh, okay.
Pressure to sell the team.
That's possible, but I think it's a long haul.
Now to the next feud, the Jets and the Broncos.
Yes, this is one that I've been covering and looking after for since it started, basically, since Sean Payton called out Nathaniel Hackett over the worst coaching job he's ever seen, and in NFL history, not only just him. And it's got to be at first I agreed, he's being truthful. There was a whole shit show last year for Denver, but if you think about it, as an veteran NFL coach, you got to have a standard. You got to have a limit of what you say and what you don't say. And he even addressed it. He said, I still had my NFL Fox gear on, my hat on, because he was saying stuff that I was out of line. And that's what led to a domino effect, because then Robert Saleh came out and defended him. If you don't got no haters, you ain't popping. And then Aaron Rodgers was like, take my coach's name out of your damn mouth. And then after that, Nathaniel Hackett himself said, there's a certain code between coaches, and he crossed it. So it's getting ugly. That's what I'm gonna say. It's getting ugly, and no apology from Payton either. Yeah, week 5, baby.
I can't wait for week 5. I think Sean Payton needs to get his back blown out by the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. It's simple. He's a dick, and he's known for Bounty Gate. So of course he's shady, bro. Yeah. So I'm glad that they're calling him out for his BS, because it's come on, man. You're out here starting drama, and damn well if you were actually a good coach, you would cut that out. That's why you won the Super Bowl on the Bounty Gate, if I'm being honest.
I mean, that's not entirely true. The Bounty Gate was after the Super Bowl win. But what I will say is that after Bounty Gate, you should have some sort of, after you got suspended for a year, you lost a lot of your players, and you got fined, you should have some sort of respect for other coaches, have some sort of line for yourself. Because not only did you cross that line way before this, where he did the Bounty Gate, paid off players to do that. You have a line, you've crossed it already, try not to cross it again. And now you're out here disrespecting a head coach, saying he has the worst, head coaching job of all time. Hey, man, you had one of the most dangerous head coaching jobs of all time, injuring a bunch of players and destroying careers, if I'm being honest. Brett Favre wasn't the same after that. I know he was old, but after that, he was done. He couldn't play anymore.
Sean Payton is probably the most irrational coach right now in the NFL. Him crossing the line just shows that he still has that irrationality. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen there in Denver, but what I will say is I don't think they'll still make the playoffs anyway. So, on to the next thing with the Jets. And this is obviously probably not super big news, but obviously Garrett Wilson suffered an injury. And I don't think it's going to have any fantasy impact, though, because it's a low ankle sprain. But what do you think about that little injury?
It's a small little injury, like you said. It's nothing to be concerned of as of now. But if you look at his other training camp highlights, dude, the guy was balling, making one-handed catches, making catches at the very end of the line. So like overall, it shouldn't be too much of a concern if I'm a Jets fan. Garrett Wilson is that guy, and he's bound to he's bound to get healthy and he'll be straight.
Yeah, but Garrett Wilson, I actually want to ask you this because like I saw it quickly like before we started filming.
Yeah.
Some guy said that Garrett Wilson's less valuable than Chris Olave based on the draft ADP for fantasy.
Less valuable than than Olave?
Yes, because he's pretty much said that you'd get the same value, but Olave's drafted later, so that's why he's more valuable. Do you agree with that, or how do you feel about that?
It makes sense to me because I feel like Wilson will get traded first. I mean, get drafted first, then Olave, and Olave will have that worth later on. It does make sense to me, but I could see the case where Olave does get drafted first.
No, pretty much what he was trying to say is like, Chris Olave is more valuable because he's getting drafted later, and him and Wilson are pretty much going to be doing around the same. But Olave is more valuable because he's getting drafted later.
Yeah, that makes total sense because if you're drafted later and you're projected at the same rate as Wilson, then yeah, you're bound to be better. You're bound to have good value. That's good value. That's a sleeper value. But like I said, I could see it being interchangeable. I can see Olave getting drafted first. I can see Wilson getting drafted later. But I don't know. It just depends. Olave obviously did great last season, and I think Wilson was hurt. Yeah, he got a little bit hurt. So Wilson, had that, and Olave had obviously took the honors. So I think, yeah. I mean, in general, it does make sense that even if Olave is going to get drafted later, but still has that same value as, or that same statistical value as Wilson, then yeah, he's worth more later on in the rounds.
But sticking at wide receivers getting hurt, obviously, Calvin Ridley with the toe. This doesn't seem to be that serious, but what are your thoughts on it?
Once again, hopefully it's a light injury. It's nothing too crazy because a lot of people are also looking at his training camp tapes, and he's looking great.
He's starting to look a little bit more like his old self because 2021 he was looking off.
Yes. No, he was looking great in training camp, and so once he gets that toe issue figured out, honestly, look for him in the 4th round. Look for him in the 4th round, 5th round.
We'll see. And what do you think about the Cup injury? Obviously, the hamstring. They don't want to say how bad it is, but what do you think about that?
I think they might be sugarcoating it a little bit by saying that he'll be hopeful by week 1. I think this might be more serious than we think because he did get carted off. I believe he did. Or he walked off, but he was limping. And I think with a hamstring injury, it's not like, get it fixed right away. No. There is time. Don't get me wrong. There is time between now and week 1. But if I'm being honest, do the Rams want to risk him? Do they want to rush him to week 1? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to miss significant time into the regular season. But don't expect him to see him week 1. I just feel like for precaution, they start him the following week.
I hope that Cooper Kupp does come back in time, or else I obviously, since I'm a Rams fan, at that point, I'd almost not want to watch my team. If Cooper Kupp is not on the field, I don't really want to watch. Because at that point, we're going to lose. For sure at that point, because we have no real weapons outside of Cooper Kupp. Maybe Cam Akers if he actually starts looking like how he looked. Because he's very consistent. But if he starts looking at how he looked in the end of the season, we'll have a weapon there. But, if Kupp stays hurt, Caleb Williams 2024. I don't care. And people are starting to really think we're going to be a bottom 3 team. So, I don't know. I do not mind if he sits out, only if he's actually really injured. Because then at that point, I'm really in for that Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So, yeah.
I think it's very wishful thinking because, yes, don't get me wrong, the Rams have the potential of being a horrible team. No bias, no trash talking. They have the potential. They're not that team from 2021 anymore.
We have literally nobody's on defense.
So it's very likely that they'll be a bottom 10 team. But for that first pick, I just doubt it. I think the Cardinals have that. We'll have this in a future video. Maybe we'll have it included here. We'll have it on TikTok or whatever. But the Cardinals had training camp, and they were doing a play, and the first thing I noticed is they were taking too long. Colt McCoy was taking too long to hike the ball. So I was like, this is going to be... that. If that was in the real NFL world, the real NFL game, that would be a delay of game easily. But second of all, Colt McCoy was trying to throw it to his receiver, and instead he throws it to the back of the head of the defensive back. I was like, man.
I will say, if the Cardinals don't play Kyler this year, yeah, it'll be pretty hard for us to be number one. But if it all really depends on Kyler playing, if I'm being honest. Because if Kyler plays at least most of the season, I don't think the Cardinals will be number one. Yeah. But I still see them being a bottom 10 team. Yeah. But
it's gonna take a lot for the Rams to be a bottom 10 team. But losing guys like Cooper Kupp will pretty much start that really fast.
Yeah, I agree. Because if we lose Cooper Kupp at that point, we have a old quarterback that's still probably decent, obviously.
Yeah.
An elite but old defensive player, and that's pretty much it. Like, that's it. The bright spots.
Yeah, defensive line sucks. The defensive line lost a lot of pieces. The defensive backs are bad. Yeah, it's rough. It's looking rough to be a Rams fan and a Rams player in general. Yeah.
I might not even go to a game this year. Might not. Might. Who knows? But what I will say is that, given obviously that Ramsey's no longer there, and given Ramsey's situation, the Dolphins sort of addressed that recently, signing Eli Apple, which I find very interesting because obviously Eli Apple is Eli Apple. What do you think about Eli Apple signing with the Dolphins?
Well, my first thought that came up was the comments I saw.
By Tyreek Hill?
Yes. And not only that, like how the Chiefs fans were taunting the Dolphins, saying that, damn, what a way for you guys to make yourself lose even more games, just adding Eli Apple. In general, I don't have any disrespect towards Eli Apple, but if you're trying to compare Eli Apple to Jalen Ramsey, there's no comparison. There's no comparison.
Yeah, I don't know. Eli Apple's had his moments though, but yeah, no, he's had his bad moments too.
Yeah. So I mean, Dolphins. Don't get me wrong. They added to the hole. They added to that big hole they had. But if it's not gonna look like, I don't think he's gonna obviously fulfill that role that Ramsey would.
And there's one more signing I actually want to talk about, which happened recently. I'm not even gonna try to say his name fully, but Yannick, yes, to the Bears. It was a good move in my opinion because the Bears defensive ends last year had like 4 sacks, and I think last year he had for sure more. Yeah, I think it was near 10. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. 9.5. Yes. What do you think about him signing to your rival?
Well,
give me the bias perspective first. The bias.
Bias perspective, I feel like the Bears probably could have gone with better options, like Davenport or the guys on the Saints. I can't remember his name anymore. But the defensive ends from the Saints. Yannick is a dog. Don't get me wrong. But as we were talking about it before, it's that he's not really that great on the run, the rushing defense.
He's
more of a pass rusher.
Yeah,
he's the pass rusher guy you want, and the Bears do need that. But I feel like if you want to compete in the NFC North, you need to have guys that can do both. And so, not a bad pickup at all. And now more unbiased, good solid pickup. Bears, it was gonna happen. He gets a 1-year deal, so.
I think it's 1 year, like 12 mil, so he got paid for sure.
Yeah, so if he proves it, then he'll stay another year for the Bears. But
we'll see.
Overall, it's a good move, decent move for their need, for sure.
The only thing I find interesting is that he's been productive, like throughout his career. He's been above average, but he's gone to so many teams. So
yeah,
I don't know why. Obviously, because some people were saying like this is like his 5th team, and it's like. He's been productive, but it's like, why is he moving so much?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we can't answer that, but I just found that interesting. And there's one more thing before the main course, but there's one more thing for sure I want to talk about.
What's that?
Alvin Kamara, and this was today, but Alvin Kamara got suspended 3 games. What do you think about that?
I thought it was going to be more, to be honest. I thought it was going to be 4 or 5, if I'm being honest. But 3, obviously, he's going to, he's going to have to serve 3 games. And... of course it was going to happen. He's not just going to, escape without any punishment. Goodell's going to give him the punishment. He met up with Goodell to discuss it. So he got, what would I say? He got a slap in the wrist. 3 games, that's it.
I guess, yeah, I agree. It was kind of a slap in the wrist, 3 games. I thought it would also be like 5, but I think at this point it kind of begs the question. Like I was telling him earlier, like given that Kamara has obviously never been that great of a rusher and Jamal's more of that rusher, it begs the question: will he not be the true RB1 for the Saints anymore? Especially given that he's going to miss some time. Jamal has some very good games. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about 1A, 1B. That's what I feel like can happen. What do you think about that? But them potentially being 1A, 1B.
Yeah, I like your perspective on that. Taking into last year, seeing how Jamal Williams was that guy last year. I think he had how many touchdowns? 15? 17. Yeah, like honestly, you can't just let that guy roll in the second position or the RB2 position.
Yeah,
he's gonna be the 1B, 1A, 1B. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so I don't disagree.
I for sure think Jamal's going to have more carries at the end of the season, assuming both of them are healthy. I think Jamal's going to have more carries. But I find it very interesting how literally we met Jamal and, we actually have talked to him a little bit before. So I just hope personally, biasly, because he went to the high school I went to, that he does get that one, that he's actually 1A.
Yeah.
Because he was 1A for the Lions because Swift... That situation with him got pretty ugly with Detroit. All they did was do him as the pass catcher. And Kamara's been good at that. That's why it really begs the question, will Kamara be the new Swift? And Jamal just is more of the runner.
It's very likely. Very likely Kamara doesn't have that upside anymore, to be honest. He doesn't have that upside that he once had. And Jamal Williams, coming off a great career season, you just don't let a guy sit in the back of the row, do nothing. Yeah. Sit and sit pretty, I
will be disappointed because I do think Jamal is going to be relevant for sure in that offense. He's going to have a legit role. But I would be disappointed if they do not.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Kamara's time is kind of dwindling apart. I think the Saints probably want to move on from him too. So we'll look further into that as the season goes by.
But now it's time for the main course. I feel like, you should introduce what you're going to do right now.
So last week we did do the NFL quarterbacks rankings for Anguiano, his fantasy rankings. And now it's my time to do it so that he could react and, see how he agrees. I do have a top 15. I think we did that last week too.
Yeah, I did top 15.
So I did a top 15 as well. And I don't have the statistics on here. I have my phone out here just in case. But I have the rankings in general. The numbers.
And if you want more, we'll get it to you guys in late August.
Yeah, late August, once training camp is done. Once these injuries settle down, then we'll have these. Because, it's getting pretty ugly. But anyways, here we go. So, without any further ado, no interruptions. After this, we'll discuss it. We're going to start off at number 1. Number 1, I got Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Josh Allen. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 4, Jalen Hurts. Number 5, Lamar Jackson. Number 6, Justin Herbert. Number 7, Justin Fields. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence. Number 9, Dak Prescott. Number 10, Tua Tagovailoa. Number 11.
You said his last name.
My bad.
Just keep going.
Number 11, Kirk Cousins. Number 12, Aaron Rodgers. Number 13, Deshaun Watson. Number 14, Geno Smith. And lastly, number 15, Daniel Jones.
I mean, honestly, I don't really have too many objections. But I just find it interesting that last week you were on me for having Fields at 6 and you have him 7th. So what's the deal?
Who?
Justin Fields.
Wait, and what'd you say? You had him?
I had him 6 and you were critical. You're like...
Oh, no. I wasn't critical about that. I was critical about you having Herbert. You had Cousins and Fields over Herbert. That's what I was critical of. I'm not disagreeing that Fields isn't obviously a top 10 fantasy quarterback. I'm just disagreeing on the fact that I feel Herbert could be higher than Fields. If he would have played a full season.
You have him one spot. Yeah, one spot.
Okay, one spot. That proves my point. That I have him better. Yes. I have him better by slightly. But any objections? Anything that really...
I have to think about everything you said, right?
What do you think about Mahomes at 1?
I just, like I said, I don't have him on number 1. I just think the dual threat quarterbacks are going to just continue to go up a little bit more and more.
Yeah.
And if Mahomes, like I said, Mahomes is a little bit more of a dual threat, he'll be at 1.
Yeah.
For me. But, I mean, I'm not going to go against it because he is the best passing quarterback in the league right now.
Yes.
And I will say, though, I felt like Hurts is a little low for me. I feel like number 4, I don't love that.
I can give you my reasoning.
Yeah.
I feel like Burrow has the better wide receiver duo.
Okay. I mean, I understand that.
And this is something that you've told me before. That you said that both Higgins and Chase were going to go off this year.
Yes. So don't be too specific, though. We can't let the
No,
audience...
I know. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. But I'm going with that, too. That Burrow is going to be a top 3 run quarterback because of that. He has, obviously, the best duo. You can even say he has the best trio with Boyd. But the reality is, if you compare the duo between Burrow and Fields, and Hurts, the Bengals take that. The receiver
take, but I agree. But
but Hurts,
I will say
he runs.
That I will say is the reason why I have him up front. That's the main reason.
But Burrow, I just feel will be just a tad bit better. Maybe Hurts won't run as much anymore. I
won't be surprised if Penny stays healthy the full season.
Yeah, I kind of see Hurts taking a back step from the running, because
I have him projected less than he got last year.
Yeah, that's why I have Burrow over Hurts. Other than that, I would have Hurts over him. But it's just the duo of the Bengals is too good to not say Burrow's going to be, obviously, arguably top 3.
I do want to ask you this because I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Around what range do you have Chase and Higgins getting in yards?
What range?
I just want to know.
Ranking-wise?
No, range, like 1,000, 1,500, like, you know.
I can see Chase gaining 1,500. And Higgins?
What do you have him around?
I could see him getting 1,250, 13.
Okay. I just wanted to see where you...
That's what I'm saying. These guys showed how good they were last season. Just wait for another good season. I see it. I see the Bengals. If I'm being honest, I could have the Bengals as an early favorite to win the Super Bowl. But I won't say that. That's going to be for another time where we're going to do our Super Bowl predictions.
Oh, I think we should... Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll do that. That's for another...
Another thing I actually do kind of really want to think about, want to point out, is that I find it a little interesting that you have Dak at 9 and you have Lawrence at 8. Well, more Dak at 9, if I'm being honest. I have him just outside my top 10.
Yeah. In reality, Trevor Lawrence had a really solid campaign last season, and he really surprised everyone. A lot of people didn't faze them, if I'm being honest. A lot of people phased him after his horrendous freshman year. Just, horrible. And so now, after this season, seeing what he did with Evan Ingram, seeing what he did with Kirk, even with
Zay Jones,
I just feel like if you add Calvin Ridley to the mix now, he can go off for more than we thought. That's why I have him in that top 10 position and over Dak Prescott, just because I feel like he generally has a lot of weapons now, a lot of weapons he can play with. As for Dak Prescott, he's always going to be a solid quarterback with CeeDee Lamb. That combination will obviously, still dominate. The other one that you were talking about was Deshaun Watson, right?
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit off camera because I was like, I don't know, it's very interesting because I actually don't have him in my top 15. I barely have him out of the top 15.
Yeah.
I just think he has average weapons, and last year, I just feel like last year kind of showed that he was rusty.
Yeah.
I do think he'll perform a little better, but even then, I don't know. I like all those guys you named in front of him. I kind of would prefer them over him right now.
Yeah.
Even Daniel Jones because of the rushing, and Daniel Jones has looked very good in training camp so far too with the receivers, especially Jalen Hyatt.
Okay.
Jalen Hyatt, I feel like was low-key a steal too, but that's for another day.
Yeah. But yeah, like the Deshaun Watson. If I'm being honest, I'm being really realistic, logical, because a lot of the fantasy rankings that I've been looking at, ESPN, Fantasy Pros, Sports nation, or I forgot the other one, but they have it. They have Watson in their top 10, even as high as 10, 11. In my opinion, that's way too high. For a guy that was mediocre last season and has weapons that are
they're
not
bad.
They're not bad. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, like they're not bad, but that team's gonna be running it.
Exactly, that's how I was kind of thinking.
Yeah,
I'm like
that
they have the best runner of the football.
Yeah,
or one of the best. Like they're not gonna be passing too much.
No, when you have a guy like Nick Chubb, bro, you're not gonna freaking pass. You're not gonna be passing around like that. Nick Chubb is that guy.
And not to mention, like they have a very good defense, so I don't think they'll have to score too much to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, given that we are speaking on the Deshaun Watson.
The Browns.
Preseason's first game was yesterday with the Browns and the Jets. I do want to quickly talk on it because, not too much happened, but I do want to talk about the former UCLA alumni, DTR. I know you didn't watch the game, but I did. He was going up and down the field like nothing. He was making some very good blocks. And if I'm being honest, I do think he was a steal for how late they got him.
Yeah.
And worst comes to worst, who knows? Maybe he'll be playing at the end of the season.
Yeah. I saw that block. I didn't watch the game. I was busy yesterday, but I did see the block. And that shows a lot, shows a lot of character for a guy in the preseason who is the third string quarterback. Shows a lot for a guy, a rookie, that he's a team player. He wants to win, even if it's a preseason game, even if it's a game that's not worth much. It's a guy that really wants to compete every day. And watch out, Kellen Mond. I think DTR has that number now. I think he's second now.
I think...
No denying it. We'll see what happens in the preseason. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think DTR is a guy to watch for. And honestly, I think I had... If I remember correctly from the earliest episodes, I think I had DTR going to... Atlanta. And possibly becoming the starter there. I feel like he's a guy that some teams actually want, that type of mobile quarterback,
I think what really messed him over is the injury he had in his last year.
Yeah.
Because I watched a little bit of him from UCLA, especially because I'm a USC fan. I was familiar with him.
Yeah.
I knew he was a baller, especially towards the end of his career. I knew he was a baller. I knew he was going to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, what I saw yesterday kind of let me know, he's for sure at least a backup quarterback.
Exactly.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not gonna be cut.
No.
He's not gonna be cut like that. What I saw yesterday, I was like, wow. I know it's preseason, but he's for sure holding his own.
Yes.
He's gonna hold his own. He's gonna have an NFL career, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts one day. But I think this pretty much wraps it up. Any last remarks?
I just want to say that get ready, boys. Preseason is coming quicker than that, and. Yeah, we'll probably talk about that.
Yeah, bro. Next weekend, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, bro. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see the battles, who wins certain battles, and then from there we'll see fantasy. It affects fantasy for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like some teams sometimes do start their starters. If some teams start their starters, we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they don't get injured, because I know the Chiefs for sure year in year out they have always started their starters. For the first quarter.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, preseason is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, so comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later.
See you.